What's up, boys? C Dog with my co-host
Jolly J.
Jolly J. This is Carolina Boys Sports House coming to you live. Sorry, we've been inactive for a couple of weeks. Probably say like week 4 and week 5. I've been working a lot. Sorry about that. I don't know if you've been working a lot or not.
Oh yeah, definitely. Keep it busy in here in Tennessee. Even though I'm a Carolina boy, but
Uh,
we're here together.
yeah, came in together, so we good. We can finally do a podcast together. Actually, side by side. So. College football. I'm gonna start off with it. Week 4 was pretty beast. Georgia, it was Georgia versus Vanderbilt. It was a flat out. I always start off with Georgia. I'm a Georgia boy at heart. You know that. Start off number 2. Played Vanderbilt. We blew them out like 62-0. Surprised Vanderbilt didn't even score. But our defense is. I could say we're elite, but some people might disagree. If you look at Georgia's defense, Georgia's got the best pass rusher. The defensive line is like fucking massive. Excuse my language, but we're massive. We only allowed one touchdown on the defense, and that's against South Carolina. It was a miscue, misread. But other than that, our defense has stopped the running game. Look at the week 1 when we faced Clemson. We stopped the running game, even though it was a back and forth defense. Week 2, I believe we played UAB. We demolished UAB. They got a point on us. Georgia was dominant, offense, defense, special teams. Then we got to Carolina. That's when it really started the conference. SEC conference that we had. It was South Carolina. They came in. They were all big hype, talking about they're going to give us a run for our money like they did in 2019. Georgia's defense was on point. Everything. We took out their assistant coach, quarterback, took him out, and I know in front of a Clemson thing. So hopefully that don't jinx them tomorrow. But like I said, when I got to Vanderbilt, just demolished them. Vanderbilt couldn't get the running game going, passing game, or throwing game going. It was all defense and offense with JT Daniels. And then we got week 5, number 8 Arkansas. That was the biggest thing. Arkansas is good. They have a good offense and defense. It was the big hype. Arkansas was going to serve Georgia's weak side. Got into it. It was a straight up blowout, 37-0. It was all defense was on point, special team was on point with that block, punt, and the end zone for a touchdown. Recovered by Zamar White, which is a beast of a running back. Bennett, he took over for JT Daniels. So JT Daniels is fighting a lat injury. I believe it's in his throwing arm or it's in his rib cage because I know he's been having muscle injuries lately. But we all know Bennett's the mailman. He came on as a walk-on. He was a scout player. Never really got a shot, so he left and went to a different, like a little tech school, and decided to come back another year again for Georgia. He's the mailman. He delivers when he needs. Some saying he's better than JT Daniels. Some saying JT Daniels is better. When the offensive line is better. The offensive line was massive, stood up. We had the 2 defensive linemen come in, on a third downs, which is normally what they do. I believe it was Clark or somebody. I have to look back up. But he's a 310-pound defender. 310 pounds. Took on 3 defenders in one time. He wrapped all 3 of them up so Zamar White can go in for the go-ahead touchdown. And then you got defense. You got Jordan Davis, Big D, number 99. He's massive. He's probably 400 pounds or 410 pounds of pure muscle, but that dude can run. I think they clocked him in that game. I believe it was the Arkansas game. 20 miles per hour running on the outside of the defense. He lined up on the right side, defensive tackle. When the quarterback shot out or the runner back went far right, Jordan Davis was in the backfield, like boom. And you got all the good players. You got who else we got? I can't think of his name right now. You got Kendall Milton was a good running back. James White. James Cook. You got Zamar White. Then you got Speed. You got Devontae Wyatt, which is a massive dude. Channing Tindall. Nolan Smith. That's one of the best players. He's amazing. You got Jordan Davis, N'Kobe Dean, massive. I mean, that boy can hit. If you get hit by him, you're just like you're getting hit by a Matt truck like Jordan Davis. So, I mean, we got tomorrow. We're going up against Auburn, which is supposed to be the best team. I mean, they played it. They showed the hell out of LSU for a comeback win. Alabama's still on a roll. That's why they're number one. I know I'm talking to Lou, so let him talk. And I'm going to let him get to the ACC. But Alabama's on a roll. I mean, Florida showed them up a little bit, but I mean, I believe Georgia's defense can top Alabama's offense or stay with them. As far as Georgia winning, I don't know. They'll probably choke like they always do. I'm not dissing them. I'm just saying because that seems like how it always is. But I mean, in reality, and a lot of people would disagree and agree. I think Georgia's defense and offense this year is number one. They may not be elite, but they know how to get it done, and they fight like hell. That's more. You got composure, physicality, and keep chomping. They keep chomping at the win because they want it, and it's all blood, sweat, and tears. I'm gonna turn it over to him for his team. So go ahead, Jolly J. What you got?
We know that ACC. Obviously there's Clemson behind me, so. Um, well, I love all football teams, but also Clemson's always going to be my favorite. I grew up here in Carolina, and so we'll trader over here, a little Georgia fan. But but at the same time, Clemson they lost to NC State week 4, 27-21. NC State's is a pretty awesome team. North Carolina, they're Carolina also, so we definitely speak around the both ACC teams. But Clemson, they're not looking that well this year. It's like so far, I'm not saying you can't really blame the quarterback for everything that happens, but so far. DJ's not looking very good. He only had 12 completions out of 26 passes. And 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But at rushing, he tries to be a rusher. Would you say so, DJ? But at the same time, he tries to rush. So he only had 9 carries, 63 yards. But at the same time, for some reason, he's always trying to rush. But his passing is not very accurate. I noticed when me and you went to that recent game.
Yeah, me and him both went. It was his birthday, so I took him out to. I took him for his first college game ever. I always go to Georgia. We may live. I may live like 2 hours away, but any game I'm there. No matter if it's a good game or some bull crap. Here we're just gonna pay y'all just to play. I mean, it was a good experience. I mean, like I said, it was Clemson versus Boston College. Boston College was undefeated until they played Clemson. There was some miscues in defense. Don't get me wrong. They had I forgot what his name was. Pace, I believe what it was. Scored that 79-yard touchdown. It was a misread. And then who was it? It was all defense, and it was pretty good. DJ was crap. I mean, he was ran the ball multiple times, which I don't understand why the offensive line would do that. The offensive line ain't really picking up like it should. It's like they're not even blocking. What you got to say?
Well, I would say so far, and then week 5 looked pretty good. Clemson won, but it was barely. DJ made a lot of mistakes. He I said offensive line's up doing well, but rushing was great. I say Clemson's defense. That's what holds them there the most. They're pretty solid. They're awesome and they're great, but everything like that. But either way, Clemson's a really solid team. They're not ranked anymore, but it kind of deserves so not to be ranked. But I love Clemson the best that there is, but at the same time, I don't know. Clemson's not having a good year this year. They need to work together, rebuild again, work everything back up together, and hopefully next year they'll have a very good, solid year. But also, we can speak of another Carolina team. You have Coastal Carolina.
Trash.
They blew out LA Monroe 59-6. I'm not really recall this team, but at the same time, they're ranked number 15 in the country, in the league right now. You never hear anything much from Coastal Carolina. They're not a very solid team you ever hear about. They're a small school, but at the same time, you wouldn't expect it. But also their quarterbacks are doing really well. They have for Coastal Carolina, you have I never heard of him, Trayson McCall. He had 100%. 13 out of 13, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. Seems pretty solid to me. They scored the whole entire game. They held off LA Maroon or Monroe for a long time. And then also, let's speak about, let's see. Right now for week 5, you had Iowa, number 3 in the country, versus Maryland, 51-14. That's a pretty solid game. It's mostly a blowout. But we had BYU versus Utah State. That was a wonderful game for them, 34-20. I would say Utah is moving on up. Well, not Utah State, but BYU is moving on up with everything that they got going on right now. But for their quarterback situation, that seemed like pretty solid to me in that whole entire game. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would agree. I really don't pay any attention outside of the SEC, except for Clemson. Because when I get bored, if Georgia loses, I'll just watch Clemson, see how good they do. But like all the ACC teams are doing pretty good except for Florida State. Florida State's just having a horrible year. NC State's doing all right. Wake Forest doing somewhat okay. It was in the 19, but just the bad thing about it is Clemson has never, never since Dabo Swinney. I'm not dissing, so I don't want to lose any followers, but being the bottom of the pile like they are this year, they dropped after that game. Even though they won, they were ranked 25.
Well, they're struggling.
And they dropped all the way to even not even being ranked.
I would say I love Clemson a lot, but I would say the defense is possibly ranked in the top 25. I would say I would rank if you can rank their defense, they'll be in the top 25. But their offense, it's just they can't work together. They're not figuring things out much about stuff like that. But I would say if they get their offense working and kicking, they'll be a solid team. The defense, they put up a fight against Georgia in the first game of the season for them. But
Georgia's got the best defense in the country.
True. Let's say, but also but another ACC team got Wake Forest in week 5. They won 37-34 against Louisville. That would have been an upset if that happened. But I know they're only ranked 19 at the time, but they're ranked 19 now, but they're 5-0. So obviously in the ACC they're going to rank pretty high. But Wake Forest, their quarterback situation looks pretty awesome. And the Russians looking pretty good. It looks like there's more focus on passing the whole entire game for Russian. Yeah.
Other than that, this is a weird college season. Anything can happen. Like tomorrow could be an upset weekend for SEC East and SEC West, or the ACC in general. Like Clemson faces Syracuse tomorrow, home game again. Let me tell you, the tickets were cheap against Boston College. It was like $8 a ticket. I've never seen a single game being that low. And then this game was like $74 a ticket. So if y'all Clemson fans, I suggest y'all jump on it. But,
and also it's the next game is Syracuse, but I would say the tickets are pretty low right now. They're filling some seats and everything, but Clemson can have a comeback. But just another recent game of an Carolina game. I like talking about Carolina teams. Coastal 52-20 versus Arkansas State. And right now there's a current game. I don't know if it'd be current at this point, but right now it's in the quarter 4 against Cincinnati and Temple. They're ranked number 5 in the country. So Cincinnati's
on point like they were last year.
Well, they was coming back, going up in the ranks last year, but the next time they come back this year, the top 5 team. They're blowing people out. They're 4-0, but at the same time, I would say they're a pretty solid team with Russian and also and quarterback. I would say it's a blowout to this point versus the Temple Owls at this point. So it's
going to be a battle. I'm telling you that now. Georgia's number 2, Alabama's number 1, then Ohio State comes in at number 3. Forgot who comes in. I think Oklahoma comes in at number 4. Then you got Cincinnati on the outside looking in. So if Georgia goes undefeated all year, and so does Cincinnati and all the rest of them, and they lose to Alabama in the SEC championship, they'll probably look say everybody else is undefeated. Then Cincinnati will probably pop up. Like I said, it all depends on how the rest of the season goes. I mean, Texas is 23. They're somewhat okay. Oklahoma's trying to fight to get into the playoff position. It's all it's going to be a tough season for especially when it comes to the real challenges. Because anybody can shock anybody really.
Well,
You got Tennessee. Tennessee's doing surprisingly good.
and also you got Oklahoma. They're in the top. They're in the top 10. But I know Oklahoma. That game's coming on tomorrow. That game's looking pretty solid. Well, it seems Oklahoma always had that surprise team to where they just kind of they show up and they show out, and then they make it. They make it. They could make it to the playoffs this year. I see it. Same thing for Ohio State. Ohio State. They had Justin Fields last year, so they're still doing pretty good even without Justin Fields. So I would say they're a very threat to the I would say to they're 4-1 right now. So far, a lot of these teams are threats. You will see, but I see LSU lost to Auburn, so that's a big up for the Georgia versus Auburn game that's coming up this weekend.
See, Bo Nix is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. He gave Georgia a problem last year and the year before that. But I think with this defense we got, as long as our secondary can step up, I don't think he'll be up. I think the deep threat for Auburn can be covered. Like I said, I'm not jinxing it. I trash talk a lot, but I've been trash talking lately. So I'm not, because I don't want to. I want us to have a good season this year. I want us to go to the playoffs.
But Auburn always has that. Even Alabama's kind of a little bit nervous with Auburn. I would just say you see a lot of Alabama fans saying, well, if they're facing Auburn because obviously they're rivals, but at the same time, it's like Auburn kind of just shows up and they make upsets.
Right. Like then you got like Kentucky. Kentucky's looking like, I mean, they beat Florida, so that knocks Florida basically off of the playoff prediction. Even if Florida was to beat Georgia and they got to play a SEC championship, they lose to Alabama, they're done, regardless because they lost to Kentucky. So I believe either Tennessee will be Auburn, Tennessee, and Florida will probably be. I believe Georgia Tech, but I'm not really sure. I'm gonna say those teams I predict will probably be an issue for Georgia, depending on how Georgia's offense can handle their defense and how our defense can handle their offense. So what you got for the NFL? I mean, I know I'll switch over to that for a bit.
I've watched a lot of NFL. Like the game I watched recently was the Rams versus the Seahawks. That really piqued my interest a lot of it about the Rams. I'm really digging them. They're number second in the whole entire league right now. They're ranked number 2 in the league right now, and then you had the Seattle Seahawks. Those ranked number 3 in the league. You had the second and 3 team just fight it out. See who fights for the second spot. And then the Rams pulled it out. Matthew Stafford. I'm really happy that he made that switch from the Lions to the
Rams.
Well, the Rams. He made it like that was a big switch for him, and I believe this will bump his career up because obviously Stafford he did good and he did good Detroit.
He was a Georgia great,
but he did good. He did good. And then the Detroit, but at the same time, the team wasn't clicking with him, but the Rams is clicking with him. Like he made 25 completions, 365 yards, 1 touchdown, only 1 interception. But at the same time, you had Russell Wilson. He did good. He got 11 completions out of 16. He got 151 yards and 1 touchdown before he got hurt. He got hurt last night.
Matthew got hurt too. He apparently broke his pinky finger or index finger on his right hand.
I know Russell Wilson. He hurt his hand, but I'll just say, Geno Smith showed out. He's a veteran, but at the same time, he wasn't really nervous. His composure was awesome. He got 10 completions out of 17 attempts, 131 yards and 1 touchdown. That was his first drive, and it was like a 90 something yard drive, I believe. Or so, or that was on the opposite side. But he came back. He got a touchdown. He got 1 interception. But at the same time, he was in the game less, and then Stanford was, and almost got the same amount of touchdowns and interceptions. But I would say Smith did a good job. I know if hopefully Wilson won't be hurt next coming up games, but if he is, Smith will still definitely show out with them and definitely make everything worthwhile for them. At the same time, I'll say they will have no problems with the quarterback situation for the Seahawks.
I see Kansas City. They faced the Philadelphia Eagles. They beat them. I think it was probably about like 4 or 3 points. I don't know. After that loss they had the week before that, You know, they basically showed up, and it was 42-30, so it was a close game. But you know, then you got the Texas and the Bills. I mean, the Texans suck. They lost to Deshaun Watson. They suck. The other quarterback, Deshaun Watson would have done better, but I understand the whole scandal shit that happened. But it was like 40-0. You know, let's say Josh Allen. You know, for the Bills, you know, he was 20 for 30 on 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Trubisky, you know, I don't know why they didn't start Jake Fromm, but Trubisky was 1 for 1, and only 8 yards. So it was all defense and offense for that game. Texas, you know, Texas couldn't get it going. Their defense sucked. The defense gave up yards. The defense was, you know, not being able to hold the receivers like they should. You know, tight bunching, you know, covering. You know,
But with Josh Allen, he was definitely a threat last year. Last season, he was a very good threat. Um, in the playoff season last year, the Bills went in. He definitely showed up a lot. And then all the same time, I would say the Buffalo Bills probably make the playoffs this year, but it's too early to say. You got a lot of weeks left. But at the same time, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me go and find them real quick. But oh yeah, they lost to the Bengals. The Steelers isn't doing good this year at all. I had high hopes from the beginning of the year, but right now they're 1-2. Those versus the Beagles, 2-1, but lost 24-10. Ben Roethlisberger, he had a good game. It possibly seemed like he had a good game this upcoming week with 38 completions out of 58 attempts, 318 yards and 1 touchdown. That says a lot. But I would say Big Ben, he's doing pretty good this year. But at the same time, it seemed like his rushing he needs a lot of help on rushing. They didn't really have a lot of threats at all during that game against for rushing, would you say? But and also Ben Roethlisberger, he got rushing yards this time. But I would say I don't. So far, the Steelers are doing good this year, but also you have a lot of extra good teams this year. I know the Kansas City Chiefs. I would say they could make it to the playoffs, but at the same time, it's
all depends. I mean, it's got to do with the offensive line blocking. You know, the coverage, the defense. You know, defense was slacking a little bit. You know, just like Atlanta. I know I diss Atlanta a little bit, but you know, they leave. I don't know if they already left or they're leaving tomorrow, but they play in London this Sunday. They play against the Jets in London. It's an international game. You know, I feel, you know, they got to do something, you know, because if they lose in an international country, you know, in England, and this is an international game, worldwide, that's going to make them the laughing stock, which sometimes Atlanta is a laughing stock. I mean, I'm not saying that because they're from Georgia. It's just Atlanta does not have, you know, their defense. They don't have a defense really good. I mean, they do, but their defense is not holding up like they should. The offense can't seem to be good at coverage. You know, Matt Ryan's doing his best. And then they're going to be without their star wide receiver, Calvin Ridley. I don't know if he's sick or injured, but so he didn't travel with the team, or he's not traveling with the team. So, you know, they'll be down a good receiver. You know, Calvin Ridley came from Alabama. He's the best. Besides Julio Jones, Julio went to Tennessee Titans. But, you know, I understand, you know, he wanted to leave. He wanted to go somewhere that wins a lot and not lose every single game, which I don't blame you.
Let's talk about this wonderful game of I don't mean to cut you off, but you got the Buccaneers versus the Patriots. Yeah, Tom Brady came back. New England, baby. So I love Tom Brady. I would say that must have been awesome just to come back to your team and then just beat him. But I feel sorry for the head coach of England. It's like, man, I wish I had my guy back.
I mean, it was only 2 points, but regardless, I mean, you know, you got a new breed coming in there. You know, Mac Jones came from Alabama. You know, so Matt Jones could have beaten Tom Brady, which I mean, that really wouldn't have hurt Tom Brady. But
well, I would say Mac Jones did better than Tom Brady in that game. You know, it depends on the defense. Yeah, but at the same time, it was 31 completions after 40, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. You got Tom Brady over here. He got 22 completions out of 43 and 269 yards,
0 touchdowns,
0 interceptions.
So it was basically like just defense. You know, probably defense on the scoring. If they kick 19 field goals, that'd probably be a world record. I mean,
well, look at it. Defense, you got a touchdown defense, and you got a touchdown for rushing, but no touchdowns for passing. So I would say that it was definitely a good solid game for the Patriots. It seems like to me, but
But like I said, just coming back in, Bill Belichick was probably thinking, "Oh shit," the goat's coming back. He left Patriots for a reason because I guess he wanted to try to go win his was it seventh or eighth ring? Probably seventh or eighth ring. Somewhere else, go with a different team. I mean, he's got the Gronk back with him. So it was just like I understand. He wanted to go breed to a new team. Like Matthew Stanford did with left the Lions and went to
the Rams.
The Rams,
And look at them; they're solid. And he got the right team to me. It seems like.
So, like I said, there was a lot of teams, a lot of people booing Tom Brady, and a lot of people were cheering Tom Brady. I didn't like the fact that they were booing. It's like Tom Brady started his legacy at New England. He became the GOAT at New England. Patriots was always undefeated, or basically the top of the top, like Alabama.
They was always there.
They was always there. So I guess he wanted to go get a new breed, or get a new team championship, and at least put that team in the right spot where they need to be. Like the whole scandal crap that was going around. I hate to say it, Jacksonville Jaguars 0-4. Trevor Lawrence, first year star. I can understand. He knows football. I mean, he has never lost a game in high school or college, and then he comes to the NFL and goes 0-4. His first season started.
Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't actually bash a lot of teams, but at the same time, you never really expect a lot from Jaguars. When you hear sometimes people forget about the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's why there was the first round pick, and they grabbed him. They snatched up a quarterback that they needed.
They can't get the offense going. I mean, they can't get the defense going either.
You need the offensive line freaking do it. Your quarterback, you can't blame everything on the quarterback, but you need offensive line, and also you need the defense. Like they came close. They lost by 3 points this time instead of being blown out. But at the same time, Trevor Lawrence, he's got 17 completions, over 200 yards, only a little over 204. But at the same time, he's also got a rushing touchdown. So
that's the thing. Trevor Lawrence can run. That's what I said. Like Justin Fields, they said Andy Dalton out, so now he's gonna be starting. I don't know if Andy got hurt or whatever, or they just give him Justin a chance.
They need to. They really need to give. That's what I know. I know we missed out on a lot of our podcasts before, but that's why I really want to hit on a lot was Justin Fields. That's why we want to hit on him a lot because he got drafted. Give him a chance. There's a reason why you picked him. So use him. Use him best that you can. So at the same time, I feel like they should have used him before, but I really think Justin Fields it would show a lot. Like it's going to be his first game. Well, not really, but he did practice over the thing like that. But at the same time, it's going to be the first game of him playing and it's a seriously game. But at the same time, I feel like Justin Fields is going to show out. I really hope he does because I really be happy to see him succeed in the NFL, and I hope they use him more.
I mean, I agree. Maybe during next season, if Trevor Lawrence wants to, I don't know if he will. I believe, he would probably go to a different team. That's on him. That's what he decides to do. If he wants to go free agent, or if he just wants to switch, or if he wants to try to help build the team up. Like the Dallas Cowboys. I hate saying because they're a joke. To me, they beat Carolina Panthers 36-28. That was a good game. Dak Prescott came back from an injury. He's been fighting. I mean, they might be something this year. Like I said, I'm a Kansas City guy. I'm a Georgia Bulldog college. But I mean, I believe this weekend game for college and football, NFL probably gonna be a lot of shaker. Like I said, I hope just for some piece Atlanta wins against the Jets, but probably won't happen.
But I don't mean to cut you off or we're cutting it short, but at the same time, I want to hit on the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr. I know so far he's been my favorite quarterback this year. I'm not saying I'm a Raiders fan, but at the same time I like the way they're doing it. But Derek Carr, he's doing pretty good this year. I really like the spot where he's at quarterback. I really love it the most. He's doing awesome, and also he's doing great. But I'll say he's doing good with the Raiders right now. But so far that's all we have for the night. But hopefully we got games tomorrow, and hope you enjoy this episode of the Carolina Boys Sportcast. I'm Jolly J.
And this is Sea Dog. Before we end it, I'm gonna give a little shout out to SMG Network. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
and Instagram?
I'm mainly on Instagram with it.